Hey everyone, Richard Metalfan here, bringing you guys a new 2015 album review, and today we're going to be looking into the new album, They Bleed Red by W No, which came out today through Nuclear Blast Records. So yep, a lot of people that don't know who W No are, they're a metal supergroup and formed in 2012, consisting of Howard Jones, formerly of Killswitch Engage, Francesco Razzato, formerly of All Shall Perish, and John Sankey from Devolved. They basically formed in 2012, and they put out their debut album last year entitled The Beauty of Destruction, which I honestly thought was a pretty good album, and I thought it's pretty solid. But now this year we have their second album, They Bleed Red, which came out today. And the question is, does this album follow up or just sort of live up to what the first album does? In my honest opinion, I think it has. It sort of continues on with the same kind of thing what they did with the first album onto this album. But I mean, a lot of bands sort of have that kind of sophomore slump album, but with this album, I actually think it's pretty good. It sort of continues on with what the first album has. And the production on this album is just very crisp. It's like everything is where it needs to be. I mean, Howard Jones's vocals on this album is pretty good. Like, just both his harsh and clean singing is just powerful like as ever. Same thing even when he was with Killswitch Engage. I feel his vocals just really spot on this album. And Francesco Razzato's guitar playing, that my god, that guy can fucking shred. And it's one of my favorite guitar players I've ever heard, and he's pretty damn awesome. And the bass playing on this album is pretty solid. It's pretty audible. And the drum work is pretty insane from John. I think it's pretty great. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this album. Now, the album opens up with Consume the Damned, which is a pretty great way to start off this album. It just has a very mixture of the clean and harsh vocals from Howard. And it's just a very, very great way to start off this album. It's a very roaring start. Then it leads into The Way We Die, which just has another great vocals. Kind of sounds a little bit like when Howard was a Killswitch almost, just with the vocals. And the guitar work on this album is pretty great. And just there's a double bass moment in the song is pretty good, which sort of adds just to the intensity. Then we get to Your Last Breath, which just has some very great vocal work on this album. Like, I just can't help Howard's vocals just are really good on this album. To me, it's just pretty good. Then we get to A Stay of Execution, which is the first single off this album. It was released back in September. Opens up with a really great guitar intro. It just has some very aggressive and ferocious need to it, and then it just has a really great melodic chorus, and I thought it's pretty good. Then we get to Break the Ties, which I thought just another aggressive song. It's one of my favorite songs off this album, but same thing with what I have to say with the next song, Shattered Silence, which I thought was pretty good. Then we get to Let the Pain Take Hold, which is sort of one of the more slowish type songs of this album, which just has a very great guitar part, and I really like that a lot. And just the rhythm section on that song is pretty good. Then we get to Master of None, which I thought was a pretty good song. I think it's pretty interesting. I don't really know why, that's just me. Then we get to Searching for the Sun, which just has some really great guitar work on that song, especially the guitar solo is pretty great. Then we get to How the End Shall Be, which is just a very powerful song. It's just another aggressive song on this album, especially with the drumming and vocal work on this song is pretty good. Then we get to Broken by the Cold, which is sort of ends the standard version of this album. It just has a very slow type or intro similar to Let the Pain Take Hold, but then it sort of gradually builds up, and it's just a very good way to end this album. It's pretty good. Now, of course, this album comes with 3 bonus tracks, which the first one is actually a cover originally done by Survivor, which is, yep, you guessed it, Eye of the Tiger. And for some reason, I actually like this cover. But it's not, definitely doesn't beat the original, that's for sure. But this cover, it doesn't even, they don't even play to how it sounds the original version, but they sort of add its own flavor, which is pretty awesome, because a lot of bands don't really, especially with cover songs, they just try to play it to the original. But with with bands like W No and other bands, they sort of like to try to add their own flavor to it, which makes it sound very unique. And overall, Eye of the Tiger, their Eye of the Tiger cover is pretty good. Then we get to I Am Alive, which is a pretty good song. I like that a lot. And same thing with We Live, which I thought was a pretty good song. Now, overall, the They Bleed Red by W.No, it's a pretty good album. I have to say so myself. It's a great follow-up to their first album. And like I said before, a lot of bands, especially newer bands with their second album, especially with a lot of success with the first, they kind of have that little sophomore slump, like I mentioned before. But with this album, they've actually managed to pull it off good, and I actually think it's a pretty good album. Now, if I were to give this album a score, I'll give this probably a solid 8 out of 10. So yep, that's my review of the new W.No, guys. Thank you guys for watching. See you all next video. Keep it metal.